More than 2 years have passed. Robin is studying for the priesthood at Reims. And Marjorie is living with her mother. Her father having died, Marjorie's home is sometimes used to harbour priests. Anthony Babington visits her and tells her of some business he is involved with in London. He has to go there to meet a priest called Ballard. But there will be many priests travelling together. He urges Marjorie to come to London with him and his sister Alice to meet these priests, so that she may be in a better position to recognize and assist them if ever they come to Derbyshire. He mentions also that Robin will be coming, although Robin will not be a priest for another 5 years. Such students are sometimes sent back to England temporarily as servants, to learn how to avoid the Queen's men. Some of Anthony's business he does not mention to Marjorie. He has become increasingly impatient with the thought of using prayer alone to combat the persecution of Catholics, and is involved in some conspiracy with Ballard and others. But most of his friends whom he has attempted to influence have drawn back, and a priest has even told him he is on dangerous ground. Marjorie agrees to come. Udharan Chenne. In London, Marjorie meets Father Campion, one of the most hunted priests in the kingdom, famous for his preaching, who had entered England in the guise of a jewel merchant. Campion explains his position of mixing boldly with the crowd to avoid suspicion, rather than hiding behind locked doors. He arranges to go with the others to see the sights of London the next day. And they see the Tower of London, and the notorious priest hunter and torturer Richard Topcliffe. They also catch a glimpse of Queen Elizabeth, of whom Campion speaks with gentleness and loyalty. Marjorie overhears some disagreement between Campion and Ballard, which seems to be on political matters. Finally, Campion discusses the content of his forthcoming pamphlet, Decem Rashner, 10 Reasons, which expostulated about the validity of the Anglican Church. When Robin arrives, Marjorie is careful to address him as Mr. Audrey. She asks him for prayers and advice, saying that she thinks of him as a priest already, and that although her duty is clearly to remain with her mother at present, she has wondered if she should leave the country to serve God as a nun. In the event of her mother's death, Robin promises to pray for her, but reminds her that he is not yet a priest, and gives her no advice. A year later, Marjorie is in her home with her sick mother, thinking of Father Campion and of the numerous escapes that he is reported to have had. Anthony Babington arrives, and furiously tells Marjorie that Campion, Sherwine and Brian were hanged, drawn and quartered at Tyburn 3 days previously, that they had been racked continuously, and that they all died praying for the Queen. The next day, Marjorie realizes that her mother is dying, and sends some men to find a priest in the evening. Her mother's condition worsens. Marjorie tells her mother that there is no priest, says that God will accept her sorrow, and urges her to make an act of contrition. Her mother cries out for a priest, and Marjorie reminds her that priests are forbidden in the kingdom. She says that 3 priests have just been executed for being priests, and tells her mother to say, Edmund Campion, pray for me. Marjorie has a sudden, strong sensation that Campion is in the room. Her mother smiles, looks around with no fear, and dies. Mr. Simpson arrives 2 hours later. Marjorie, calm and controlled, tells him that it is all over. She tells him of the martyrdom of Father Campion and his 2 companions. Mr. Simpson is seized with a fear that shames and disgusts him, but is unable to overcome it. Marjorie tells him that she will invite Alice Babington to come and live with her, and hints that she will now be able to do more to assist fugitive priests. The following summer, Marjorie meets a young Catholic carpenter called Hugh Owen. He is building a special hiding place for priests at Pudley, and comes to Marjorie's house to do the same. He tells her of how much he was inspired by Campion, and that he thinks he will die for his faith someday. Some time later, Marjorie falls from a horse near Robin's old home, twisting her foot. Robin's father takes her into the house and insists that she must dine there. In a private conversation, he asks when Robin will be ordained, and she tells him that if Robin has not told him that she cannot, he understands, but tells her that he is now a magistrate, and that Robin will have no mercy from him. He warns her that the authorities are aware of some of the movements of Catholics such as the Fitzherberts. When she asks why he is telling her this, he says that he was friend to the Fitzherberts before he was a magistrate. He becomes angry when she mentions Robin, telling the old man that it is not too late, and that his duty to God is higher than his duty as a magistrate.